The elevator doors slammed shut with a finality that made Marcus Johnson's heart sink. Of all the days to get trapped, IT had to be today, his daughter's birthday. But he wasn't alone. Standing across from him was none other than Victoria Hayes, the ice-cold CEO, whose company had just acquired the building where he worked as a maintenance engineer. Neither of them could have possibly imagined that what would happen in the next 45 minutes would not only change their lives forever, but transform a $3 billion smart building project that was about to displace hundreds of families, including his own. If you think this is just another rags to riches story, you're wrong. What Marcus did next shocked even himself. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why Victoria Hayes, one of the most powerful executives in real estate development, completely scrapped her original plans and started from scratch. Stay with me. This story might just change how you see the world, too. Marcus shifted uncomfortably, adjusting his tool belt as the elevator hung suspended between the 32nd and 33rd floors of the Horizon Tower. The silence between them was deafening. Victoria Hayes stood perfectly still, her designer suit unwrinkled despite the summer heat, her expression unreadable as she tapped impatiently on her phone. "Any luck with the signal?" Marcus asked, breaking the silence. Victoria glanced up, seeming almost surprised that he had spoken. "No. Whatever's wrong with this elevator has killed the reception, too." She sighed, slipping her phone into her pocket. "I suppose we'll have to wait for someone to notice we're missing." Marcus nodded, trying to hide his growing anxiety. Lily would be waiting at school, wondering why her dad hadn't shown up to take her for their special birthday lunch. At 8 years old, she was already too familiar with disappointment. Since her mother's death 3 years ago, Marcus had worked tirelessly to be both parents to her, never missing a special occasion. "I need to make a call," he said, more to himself than to Victoria. "My daughter, it's her birthday." Something in Victoria's expression shifted slightly. "How old today?" Marcus replied, surprised by her interest. "I promised her lunch at her favorite place. She's been looking forward to it all week." Victoria nodded, but said nothing more. Marcus noticed her glance at her watch, a timepiece that probably cost more than his annual salary. "You have somewhere important to be too, I guess," he said. "Board meeting. The final approval for the Horizon 2.0 project." Her voice carried the practiced neutrality of someone used to keeping emotions in check. $3 billion of investment rides. On today's presentation, Marcus felt his stomach tighten. Horizon 2.0, the massive redevelopment project that would demolish his apartment building and dozens of others in the neighborhood. The project that would force him and Lily to leave the only home she'd known since her mother died. "That's the one that's going to tear down the East Side?" he asked, unable to keep the edge from his voice. Victoria's eyes narrowed slightly. "It's going to revitalize an underperforming area and create thousands of jobs and displace hundreds of families who can't afford to live anywhere else in the city." The words hung between them heavy in the confined space. Victoria's perfectly composed facade cracked just slightly. A flash of something irritation. Guilt crossing her features before she regained control. The project has been in development for years. The board votes today and construction begins next month. Her tone made it clear the matter was settled. Marcus leaned back against the elevator wall, feeling the weight of helplessness. He'd fought against the development, attended community meetings, signed petitions, all for nothing. And now he was trapped in an elevator with the very person who held his family's future in her manicured hands. The minutes ticked by in uncomfortable silence. 10 minutes 20. Marcus tried the emergency phone again, still dead. The building's much-touted smart system seemed remarkably dumb at the moment. "Some smart building," he muttered. 3 years working maintenance here, and I've never seen so many system failures as in the past month. Victoria looked up sharply. "What do you mean?" Marcus shrugged. "Ever since the new AI system was installed to manage the building functions, we've had nothing but problems. Temperature control going haywire, security doors locking randomly. And now this. He gestured to the stalled elevator. That's impossible, Victoria said firmly. The Horizon AI system was extensively tested. It's the cornerstone of the Horizon 2.0 project, a fully integrated smart environment that learns and adapts to its occupants. Marcus couldn't help but laugh. Well, IT hasn't learned much yet. Last week, IT flooded the entire 18th floor because it detected a fire that didn't exist. Victoria's brow furrowed. Those reports never reached my desk. Would they have mattered if they had? The question slipped out before Marcus could stop himself. Their eyes met, and for a moment the power imbalance between them seemed to fade. They were just two people trapped and frustrated. Victoria broke the gaze first. Of course they would have. I don't launch faulty products, but you do launch products that destroy communities. The words hung in the air between them. Victoria's jaw tightened, but before she could respond, the elevator lurched violently, throwing them both off balance. Marcus instinctively reached out, catching Victoria before she fell. The lights flickered ominously. What was that? Victoria's voice had lost its cool detachment, revealing genuine fear. Marcus steadied her, then moved to the control panel. I'm not sure, but I don't think we should wait to find out. He pried open the panel cover with a screwdriver from his belt, revealing a tangle of wires and circuits. I might be able to override the system manually. You know how to do that? Victoria asked, watching as his hands moved confidently among the wires. I helped install it. Marcus connected two wires, and the elevator hummed to life momentarily before dying again. Before I was just maintenance. I was an electrical engineer. Lost my position when my wife got sick. Couldn't manage the hours with a 5-year-old at home. Victoria was silent, watching him work. After a few minutes, she asked quietly, "What happened to your wife?" Marcus's hands stilled for a moment. Cancer. It was quick. 6 months from diagnosis to he didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. I'm sorry, Victoria said, and she sounded like she meant it. Marcus nodded, returning to his work. Lily barely remembers her MOM now. Just impressions. Really? The smell of her perfume. The sound of her laugh. He connected another set of wires. That's why I can't leave our apartment. It's the last place where Lily lived with her mother. It's all she has left. The elevator lights suddenly brightened, and the car gave a gentle hum. You did it, Victoria exclaimed. Marcus shook his head. Not yet. I've restored power, but the control system is still offline. The AI is blocking manual override attempts. Why would it do that? That's what I've been trying to tell management for weeks. The system doesn't just have glitches. It's fundamentally flawed. It prioritizes efficiency over safety, cost-saving over human needs. Marcus looked up at her. Kind of like your Horizon 2.0 project. If you're still with me, you won't believe what happens next. The truth Victoria discovers about her own company will leave you speechless. Make sure to like this video now and subscribe to catch the next part of this incredible story. Victoria's professional mask slipped completely. That's not fair. The project will bring economic growth, new housing, luxury housing. Marcus interrupted. Not affordable homes for families like mine. There's a percentage allocated for affordable units, 15%. I've read the plans. And affordable by whose standards? Not mine. Not my neighbors. Marcus connected another wire, and the elevator display flickered to life, showing they were indeed stuck between floors. Victoria fell silent, watching as he worked. After a long moment, she spoke again, her voice softer. I grew up in public housing. Did you know that? Marcus looked up, surprised. My mother cleaned office buildings at night. Not unlike this one. Victoria's gaze was distant now, seeing something beyond the elevator walls. I promised myself I'd build something better, something that would last. And this is it, pushing out working families to build luxury condos. Victoria's eyes refocused on him. It's more complicated than that. It always is for the people making the decisions. It's pretty simple for those of U.S. living with the consequences. The elevator lurched again, dropping several inches before catching. Victoria gasped, instinctively, grabbing Marcus's arm. "We need to get out of here," she said, her composure cracking further. Marcus nodded, abandoning the control panel. "The emergency hatch. Help me reach it." Together, they managed to open the ceiling hatch. Marcus hoisted himself up first, then reached down to help Victoria. The elevator shaft stretched above them, dimly lit by emergency lights. "Now what?" Victoria asked, looking up at the seemingly endless shaft. "Now we climb," Marcus said, pointing to the maintenance ladder running along the wall. "It's not far to the next floor. We can pry the doors open from there." Victoria looked down at her pencil skirt and heels. "I'm not exactly dressed for climbing." Marcus couldn't help but smile. Neither is the elevator in the mood for waiting. As if to emphasize his point, the car shuddered beneath them. Victoria kicked off her heels and hiked up her skirt. Lee led the way. They climbed in silence, the exertion making conversation difficult. When they reached the next floor's doors, Marcus wedged his screwdriver into the seam and began to pry them apart. "Why didn't you ever leave?" Victoria asked suddenly after your wife died. "Why stay in a job beneath your qualifications?" Marcus paused, considering the question. Stability for Lily, flexible hours, and honestly, I'm good at fixing things. Always have been. The doors began to give way under his efforts. "Just wish I could fix what matters most." With a final push, the doors slid open enough for them to squeeze through. Marcus helped Victoria onto the floor, then followed her out. They stood in an empty hallway, both breathing hard from the climb. "Thank you," Victoria said, smoothing her rumpled clothing. "For getting us out." Marcus checked his watch and grimaced. "I need to call my daughter's school. I'm already an hour late." Victoria hesitated, then pulled out her phone, which now had reception. "Use mine." Marcus made the call, explaining the situation to the school and promising to be there as soon as possible. When he handed the phone back, Victoria was watching him with an unreadable expression. "You're a good father," she said simply. "I try to be." Marcus ran a hand through his hair. "Look, I should go. And you have your board meeting." Victoria glanced at her watch and sighed. "I've missed it. The vote will have happened without me." "I'm sorry," Marcus said, and meant it despite everything. Victoria shook her head. "Don't be. Maybe it's for the best." She hesitated, then asked, "Would you show me?" "Show you what?" "The problems with the AI system. The real ones, not the sanitized reports I've been getting." Marcus stared at her, trying to gauge her sincerity. "Why?" "Because if what you're saying is true, we're about to implement a fundamentally flawed system across an entire development. A $3 billion mistake." Victoria met his gaze directly. "And because I want to see what I'm destroying before I destroy it." What happened over the next 3 hours would change everything. The secrets Marcus revealed about the building's AI system would not only save his home, but transform Victoria's entire vision for Horizon 2.0. If you're invested in this story now, hit that like button and subscribe because the conclusion will show you how one person's courage can change the course of a billion-dollar corporation. Marcus led Victoria through the building's maintenance areas, showing her firsthand the problems that have been plaguing the smart systems. In the central control room, he pulled up logs that had been hidden from executive reports, revealing pattern after pattern of dangerous malfunctions. The AI is programmed to prioritize cost efficiency above all else, Marcus explained, pointing to code on the screen. It's making decisions that look good on paper, but create real-world hazards. Victoria leaned closer, her expression growing more troubled with each revelation. "This is nothing like what I was shown in development meetings." Because no one wanted to tell the boss that her pet project had fundamental flaws, Marcus said bluntly. The same way no one wanted to tell you what Horizon 2.0 will really do to the neighborhoods it's replacing. Victoria was silent for a long moment, processing everything she'd seen. "Show me more," she finally said. They spent the next hour going through the building. Marcus pointing out jury-rigged fixes that maintenance staff had implemented to work around the AI's limitations. In the security office, he showed her footage of residents trapped in their apartments when a system had malfunctioned during a power fluctuation. "These aren't just inconveniences," Marcus explained. "These are safety issues, and your Horizon 2.0 plans call for an even more integrated system with fewer human overrides." Victoria's phone rang, interrupting them. She answered, listening briefly before saying, "I understand. I'll be there shortly." Hanging up, she turned to Marcus. "That was my assistant. The board approved the project in my absence, but they need me to sign off on the final documents." Marcus felt his heart sink. Despite everything he'd shown her, nothing would change. Of course they did. Victoria studied him for a moment. "I'd like you to come with me." "What? To the meeting?" "I want you to show them what you've shown me." Marcus shook his head. "I can't. My daughter will pick her up on the way," Victoria said decisively. "She can wait in my office during the meeting. I have a couch, a TV, snacks. It'll be fine. Why would you do this?" Victoria's expression softened slightly. "Because you were right. I've been so focused on building something impressive that I forgot to make sure it was good." She checked her watch. "We don't have much time. Will you help me?" Marcus hesitated, then nodded. "Let me get my things." They picked up Lily from school, Marcus explaining the situation as best he could to an 8-year-old. To his surprise, Victoria knelt down to Lily's level and introduced herself. "I'm sorry I kept your dad from your birthday lunch," she said sincerely. "But I promise we'll make it up to you. How does dinner at any restaurant you choose sound? After your dad helps me with something important." Lily studied Victoria with the frank curiosity of childhood. "Are you the boss lady Dad talks about? The one who wants to take our home?" Marcus winced, but Victoria didn't flinch. "I am, or I was. Your dad is helping me understand some things I didn't know before." In Victoria's sleek office, Lily settled on the couch with a tablet and snacks while Marcus prepared to address the board. He felt wildly out of place in his maintenance uniform, surrounded by executives in tailored suits. "Gentlemen, ladies," Victoria began, her authority filling the room despite her disheveled appearance. "I know you've already voted to approve Horizon 2.0, but I've discovered information that requires US to reconsider." She nodded to Marcus, who stepped forward nervously. For the next 20 minutes, he explained what he'd shown Victoria, the flaws in the AI system, the safety concerns, the real-world implications of prioritizing efficiency over human needs. "And it's not just the technology," he concluded, finding courage in the importance of what he was saying. "The human cost of this development, as currently planned, is too high. You're displacing communities, breaking apart support networks that people like me depend on." The board members exchanged glances, some dismissive, others concerned. "This is all very interesting," said one executive, "but we've already committed to our investors. The plans are finalized." "Plans can change," Victoria said firmly, "and they will. I'm exercising my executive authority to halt the project as currently designed." A murmur ran through the room. "Victoria, be reasonable," another board member protested. We can, and we will," Victoria interrupted. "I'm proposing a redesign that addresses both the technical flaws and the community impact. We'll incorporate more affordable housing, real affordable housing. We'll preserve existing structures where possible instead of demolishing everything. And most importantly, we'll rebuild the AI system from the ground up with safety as the primary directive, not cost saving. That will add hundreds of millions to the budget," someone objected, "and save billions in potential lawsuits when the system fails catastrophically," Victoria countered. "Not to mention the human cost, which none of our spreadsheets account for." She looked around the room and Victoria continued, her voice steady. "Somewhere along the way, I lost sight of the people part of that mission. Today has been illuminating. The board meeting stretched for hours with heated debates and financial projections being recalculated in real time. Throughout it all, Victoria stood firm with Marcus providing technical insights that none of the executives could refute. By the time they emerged, Lily had fallen asleep on Victoria's office couch. "Is it over?" Marcus asked quietly, gently waking his daughter. Victoria nodded, exhaustion and something like peace settling on her features. "The board has agreed to a 6-month redesign period. We're going back to the drawing board with community input this time." She knelt down to Lily's level again. "And no one is going to take your home away." Lily rubbed her eyes sleepily. "Promise?" "I promise," Victoria said solemnly. "In fact, I'd like to hire your dad to help make sure we get it right this time." Marcus looked at her in surprise. "What?" "I need someone who understands both the technical aspects and the human impact," Victoria explained. "Someone who isn't afraid to tell me when I'm wrong." She smiled slightly. "You seem uniquely qualified." 3 months later, Marcus stood in a community center, watching as Victoria presented the revised plans for Horizon 2.0 to the neighborhood residents. Gone were the luxury high-rises that would have displaced hundreds. In their place was a thoughtful mixed-use development that preserved existing housing while adding new affordable units and community spaces. "The heart of this new approach," Victoria was saying, "is what we're calling human-centered smart technology. Unlike traditional smart buildings that prioritize efficiency, our systems will prioritize safety, accessibility, and quality of life." Marcus felt a tug on his hand and looked down to see Lily beaming up at him. "Damn is," Victoria said, "I could help name the new playground they're building." Did she now? Marcus smiled, still sometimes amazed at how much had changed since that fatal day in the elevator. After the presentation, Victoria joined them, looking more relaxed than he'd ever seen her in the corporate offices. "What do you think?" she asked. "Will the community approve?" "I think you've done something remarkable," Marcus said honestly. "You listened. You changed. Not many people in your position would have." Victoria's gaze drifted to where Lily was showing other children the playground designs. "Sometimes we need to get stuck to find our way forward." She turned back to Marcus. "Thank you for being brave enough to speak truth to power that day." "Thank you for being humble enough to listen," he replied. 1 year later, the first phase of the redesigned Horizon 2.0 opened to the public. The ribbon-cutting ceremony featured not just Victoria and corporate executives, but community leaders, residents, and frontline workers who had contributed to the project. Marcus stood among them, now heading the Human Impact Division that Victoria had created specifically for him. As cameras flashed and speeches were made, Victoria stepped to the microphone. "A building is more than steel and glass," she said. "It's more than smart technology and innovative design. A building is ultimately about the people who live and work within it." I learned that lesson in an elevator of all places. She smiled at Marcus in the crowd. Sometimes getting stuck is the best way to find a new direction. The New Horizon building became a model for responsible development across the country. The AI system rebuilt from the ground up with Marcus' guidance set new standards for safety and human-centered design. Most importantly, not a single family had been displaced. Instead, the community had grown stronger with new resources and opportunities available to all residents. On Lily's 9th birthday, Marcus took her to lunch at her favorite restaurant, just as he planned to do the year before. But this time, they had a guest. Victoria joined them, bringing a gift and a card she'd made herself. "Happy birthday, Lily," she said, sliding the package across the table. "Your dad tells me you're interested in engineering." Lily nodded eagerly, tearing open the gift to reveal a complex building set designed for young engineers. "This is awesome, Dad. Look," Marcus smiled, watching his daughter's excitement. "What do you say, Lily?" "Thank you, Miss Victoria." Lily jumped up to give her a hug, which Victoria returned with genuine warmth. Over dessert, Victoria leaned toward Marcus. The international expansion is moving forward. The board wants me to oversee it personally. That's great, Marcus said, though he felt a strange disappointment at the thought of her leaving. I'll need my human impact director with me, she continued, watching him carefully. If he's interested. Marcus hesitated, looking at Lily happily playing with her new toy. I don't know. Lily has school friends. Of course, Victoria nodded. It was just a thought. Later, as they walked through the park near the restaurant, Lily ran ahead to the playground while Marcus and Victoria followed at a slower pace. I've been thinking, Marcus said finally, about your offer. Victoria glanced at him, and I think maybe there's a middle ground. I could consult on the international projects, travel when needed, but keep our home base here. He watched Lily climbing confidently on the jungle gym. She needs stability. She needs a father who's fulfilled by his work, too, Victoria said gently. You've changed how an entire corporation approaches development. That's no small thing. Marcus nodded, considering her words. Who would have thought? A maintenance guy and a CEO stuck in an elevator, changing the world. Victoria finished with a smile. One building at a time. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the park, Marcus watched his daughter playing and felt for the first time in years that the future held more promise than fear. Sometimes life's detours, even getting stuck in an elevator, led to unexpected destinations. And sometimes speaking truth to power could change not just a building, but the lives of everyone within it. If this story resonated with you, please leave a comment below sharing what part of the tale moved you the most. And be sure to subscribe to the Echo Tales YouTube channel for more incredible true stories.